Good evening. We begin tonight with a story that has sent shockwaves across the global economy. A story that began with a sudden, almost unprecedented announcement from the White House just after the stroke of midnight. President Trump, in a move that has stunned allies and adversaries alike, has unleashed the most sweeping set of tariffs in modern American history. The immediate fallout was swift and severe. As dawn broke over financial centers from Tokyo to Frankfurt, markets reacted with predictable panic. Utter chaos as everyone tried to price in the risk of a full-blown global trade war. The order itself imposes a broad-based 60% tariff on a vast array of goods from nearly every major trading partner. The most jarring of these is a potential 100% tariff on all imported computer chips and semiconductors, everything from the automotive industry to consumer electronics. This is a high-stakes gamble, and the world is holding its breath. This evening, we are going to unpack what this all means, not just for the titans of industry, but for ordinary people. For more on that, let's bring in our senior international correspondent, Julian Bell, live from London. Julian, the UK, Europe, Japan, these aren't just trade partners, they are cornerstone allies. How is this being received?
Alex, to put it bluntly, with a mixture of disbelief, anger and deep strategic concern. Here in London, the government is trying to walk a very fine line. Well, on one hand, they want to project calm and emphasize the special relationship, but behind the scenes there is palpable fury. The response from Brussels has been far more unified and muscular. They've made it clear they will not be bullied. EU Commission President has said any tariffs will be met with swift and proportionate countermeasures. They have a list ready. Everything from Kentucky bourbon to Harley-Davidson motorcycles, all designed to inflict pain in key US electoral states.
We go to our correspondent Ravi Sharma in New Delhi. Ravi, India has a complex relationship with the US, often seen as a strategic counterweight to China. How does this action affect that delicate balance?
Alex, it complicates things immensely. The reaction here is deep frustration, a sense of being caught in the crossfire. For years, India has been trying to balance its historic ties with Russia, its economic interdependence with China, and its growing partnership with the United States. These new tariffs hit Indian exports of textiles, auto parts, agricultural products, all very hard. The government here has responded with a mix of defiance and a call for dialogue. They're calling the tariffs unilateral and unacceptable, but also emphasizing they remain open to constructive negotiations. But the real fear is for the small and medium-sized exporters. I spent the morning in a textile hub just outside Delhi, talking to factory owners who employ thousands of people. For them, the American market is everything.
Now let's get a vital perspective from the African continent with our correspondent Becky Sisamakiza in Johannesburg. Becky, for many African nations, AGOA has been a lifeline. How do these tariffs impact that?
Alex, they threaten to sever that lifeline completely. For over 2 decades, AGOA has been the bedrock of South Africa's export strategy for cars, for wine, for agriculture. It has created hundreds of thousands of jobs across the continent. A 60% tariff on cars made here in Pretoria makes them completely uncompetitive. These plants, run by Ford and BMW, were built specifically to leverage AGOA for export. We're talking about tens of thousands of well-paying jobs now at immediate risk. I spoke with a union leader this morning who represents workers at one of these auto plants. He told me, "This isn't about numbers on a spreadsheet for us. This is about our ability to feed our families." South Africa already has one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. The potential job losses could be catastrophic.
Julian, Ravi, Becky, thank you. I want to bring you all in together now. Julian, let me start with you. You mentioned the UK is seeking exemptions. Is there any realistic hope that a special relationship plea will actually work?
Alex, that is the billion-dollar question. Publicly, the Prime Minister has to say he's confident. Privately, I think the mood is far more pessimistic. This administration doesn't seem to value those historic alliances in the same way.
Ravi, over to you in Delhi.
If forced to choose between its economic relationship with the US and its strategic needs, like cheaper energy from Russia, where does India lean? That's a choice Delhi desperately wants to avoid, Alex. India prizes its strategic autonomy. If pushed, I believe they will try to carve out a third path.
Becky, is there a risk this could push South Africa and other African nations closer to other powers like China? Absolutely, Alex. That is perhaps the most significant long-term geopolitical risk for the United States here. China is already Africa's largest trading partner. This could accelerate a strategic realignment across the continent that could take decades for the U.S. to reverse.
So, where does this all go? The most honest answer is that we are in uncharted territory. The immediate future is defined by uncertainty, which acts as a tax on the entire global economy. The era of seamless global supply chains may be drawing to a close. We could see a fundamental rewiring of how things are made and sold. More onshoring, nearshoring, or friendshoring. A more fragmented and likely more expensive global economy, which means higher costs for consumers everywhere. Tonight, we've journeyed from Washington to London, Delhi, to Johannesburg. What we've seen is a world grappling with a profound shift, a decisive break from the consensus of global integration. Whether this is a temporary disruption or a permanent realignment remains to be seen. The administration argues it's ushering in a new era of fair trade. Many economists and our own correspondents tonight have painted a much darker picture. The stories we've heard tonight from Julian, Ravi and Becky are about people. The factory worker in South Africa, the small business owner in India, the family in Britain, all caught in a geopolitical storm. Their futures and ours are tied to the outcome of this high-stakes gamble. It is a story we will continue to follow closely from every angle. Thank you all for joining us. Good night.